Okay, so we're going to follow along with this bonus step. We're going to kind of follow the trend that you might have picked up on, which is we're going to continue to add some sounds to our game to get more feedback from our player when they do something. In this particular step, we're going to add one for our button. So we're going to add a couple click sounds so that it's like very clear with an audio cue when the button is actually activating and when it's deactivating. So what we can do is find our button prefab. It's going to be in the gameplay folder and that physics button there. Going to open that up and find that button movable script. Here, what we can do is before we open up our script here, we want to go to add component and we're going to search for an audio source. There we go. And we can leave that as is. We're going to make sure we open it up, though. I guess we're not leaving it as is because we want to turn off play on awake here. We don't actually have an audio clip inside our button, so play on awake won't. It shouldn't play any sounds, but we're going to want to turn that off anyways. We're also going to want to turn this spatial blend over to 3D, set max distance to 10. You're going to recognize probably a lot of these settings if you did the moving platform sound. We can adjust our Doppler level up to like 2 or so. And yeah, I think that's probably good. Yeah. All right, so now what we can do is hop into our button controller script. So go ahead and open that up. Oh, and mine opened on the wrong screen, so give me 1 second to pull it over. Once it finishes loading Visual Studio, there it goes. All right, so what we want to start with is at the top, we want to add a couple of variables. We're going to give ourselves some space beneath our normal variables here. And we're going to say public audio clip array. So those two square brackets. Also, let me zoom in for you guys. There we go. So yeah, we want that audio clip array. We're going to call that button. Actually, no, we're not going to use an array. We're going to use just two separate public audio clips. So this first one will be public audio clip button on click. And then this one will be public audio clip button off click. There we go. And then we're going to add a private audio source variable, call it AS. We now need to, before our move button enumerator, we do need to add a start method. So we can say void start, open and close parentheses. Private void start is maybe what we should all write here. Yeah, do private void if you have to type it out yourself. We're going to say AS equals get component audio source. There we go. And then what we'll do now is we will drop down into our move button enumerator here. And then right above where we say on button activate, we will say as.play one shot. And then we will add our parentheses here and we will say button on click. So that will play our button, our click sound that we'll use for the button turning on. That'll play that one time. And then let's just copy this line and paste it down here above on button deactivate, but we're going to change on to off. Oops, case F's there. There we go. That's all we need to add to our script here. We can go ahead and go back now to our physics button prefab, and we're going to see those button on click and off-click variables now appear in the inspector. So let's go ahead and lock the inspector by clicking on the lock button up here at the top, and then we'll go to our sounds folder and the button folder, and then we'll select button on and put that in the on field there, and then button off will go in the off one. And now we can test that out. I'm actually going to test this in my test scene because my level 3 scene here is a little bit, takes a little while to get to the end. So it'll be a little faster if we do it here. Let me add a button, gameplay button, there we go. Now if I hit play, you heard the button click, and if I pull it off, you heard the button unclick. So just like that, we now have a little bit more feedback for when our buttons are getting clicked. And in the event that for some reason it gets activated twice, now we can hear that happen as well. I think you guys might have heard it the once. A nice little satisfying click sound there. Yeah, and that's it. So go ahead and save your scene, and then Yeah, the next one we're gonna add some sounds to our box so that it makes like an impact sound when it's rolling around and touching and like hitting the floor and stuff.